Welcome to the Alabama Bass Trail Podcast, brought to you by Phoenix Boats. Now, here are your hosts, Alabama Bass Trail Program Director, Kate Donaldson.
Welcome into the Alabama Bass Trail Podcast presented by Phoenix Boats. I'm Kay Donaldson, the director of the Alabama Bass Trail, and your host for this week's podcast. And yes, we missed a week. The post-Thanksgiving podcast last week, I was not feeling well. Our guest was not feeling well. So we scratched that podcast and we're moving on to the week of December the 4th. We are going to talk to these guys a little bit early. Our guest today is going to be Randal Hamilton, Justin Mott. They are traveling on their way to the Bassmaster Team Championship down in Leesburg, Florida. We're going to talk to them. This is the podcast for December the 4th. So by the time you're listening to this, those guys are going to be out on the water practicing. So that's going to be our guest. But I do want to give a little post-Thanksgiving report because I did do some deep diving down into some fishing and things like that. But first of all, I want to say I hope that you spent your time with your family and friends there on Thanksgiving. I hope that you had good food, good fellowship. I know there was a lot of fishing going on, so we're going to get into that. But I know that my family was very blessed this year to be able to get together again at my mom's house. I will say my mom, AKA Chief Golden Girl, whatever, she was feeling quite a bit under the weather. She was not quite herself, as she would say, not really up to snuff. But it was good to be at her home. It was good to have all of my kids there and kind of all be together, my sister and her family and my aunt and her daughter and their family. So it was good to be together. It was great food. Just absolutely one of those days that you cannot stay on a diet. Especially if your mom is as good a cook as my mom, and it was so good. Absolutely so good. So we enjoyed a great time around my mom's house and pulling out all the Christmas decorations and getting the tree up. And actually, Black Friday, I several years ago decided I didn't like Black Friday shopping. I don't like to fight people for what I want to purchase. So I decided I was going to just kind of do my own thing, and I set up my Christmas tree and put out my wreaths and did all the things getting ready for St. Nick. So I kind of skipped all that, but it was a great holiday. Again, I hope you got to spend time with your family and got to enjoy a lot of whatever your traditions are. I mentioned on the podcast with Wesley Sams and Jordan Wiggins a week or so ago that my favorite item on the table is turkey and dressing. Some people say chicken and dressing, turkey and dressing. It's not a stuffing, it's a dressing. And I want it for my appetizer, I want it for my meal, and I want it for my dessert. That is my favorite thing. And probably next to that is my mother's chicken and dumplings. So again, there is no way that you can stay on a diet and be at my mother's house. So got off the diet for a little bit and then turned around and got right back on it on Friday. So that's just a little discipline thing I have to do for myself. So, but again, I hope that you enjoyed your time. While I was finishing, unpacking up my fall decorations and getting out my Christmas decorations, I noticed a large number of people on my news feed, my Facebook feed, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all the things were hunting and fishing. And it really made me think about the song Hunting and Fishing and Loving Every Day, because that is exactly what my Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok feed was. Everybody out fishing and hunting. I did see where Slick Johnson and Brianna Tucker got the win on Wheeler this past weekend with a 24.54 bag with an 8.5-pound largemouth. It was a big old bass. I saw several pictures of that rotating around social media. And it was a big bass, and it had really good color too to be that old. So you can almost think that fish is somewhere 7 to 8 years old. But good tournament there. And then Slick and Goob actually won what they call the Speedy Cafe or the Wheeler Lake on Sunday tournament with a little over 17 pounds as well. Pickwick Lake had some really good bags the weekend of Thanksgiving. We saw the last couple of weeks it's taken anywhere from 22 to 27 pounds to win over on Pickwick. And the smallmouth are certainly turning on. So that's good to see. A lot of really pretty smallmouth pictures showing up around on social media. So I'm actually looking forward to getting there in February, and hopefully we're going to see, more of those 20-pound plus bags when we go there. I will say, if you're not friends with Scott Dobbins, our former tournament director here on the Alabama Bass Trail, he had a big, big buck that he landed over the weekend and then got out and did some crappie fishing. So, Scott, congratulations on enjoying your holiday with your family and getting that buck. I don't know what it scored, have no idea what it scored, but it was a good buck. He's pretty particular about the ones he takes, and that one was a good one. So, and crappie fishing, good Lord, at the crappie that I'm seeing from Weiss Lake to Wadowee to Neely Henry to Gunnersville. I really don't see a ton at Wheeler. I know that my brother-in-law Larry and his uncle go out and do some down in Spring Creek, and they've gotten some crappie, but we're not seeing the numbers yet that we'll see probably January, February timeframe. So, but good Lord at the crappie fishing that's going on. So I did want to kind of talk a little bit about the fishing around the state of Alabama. I've heard some rumblings about a dirty 30 bag over on Gunnersville. I couldn't find anything on social media to back that up. But I had 4 or 5 people reach out to me and say, have you seen anything about a 30-pound bag weighed in on Gunnersville? And I have not. It would not surprise me at all. The fishing over there has just been crazy good. And it really didn't wane any time of the year from January to December. I mean, it has been really good. So I did not see anything on social media to verify that story, but it would not surprise me in the least. I do want to say if you have logged on to Alabama Bass Trail or Alabama Bass Trail 100 so far this week, you have noticed that there are some changes on the website. All the 2024 information is there, all the who, what, wins, and where for the tournaments. There's some updated information on the bonus programs page. You've got new bonus programs that are there from not only the Garmin and the ABT and all of that, but you've got one from Halo that's there. You still got the Amherst, you've got the Garmin. You might have noticed one from Pro Guide Batteries. That's going to be a new sponsor you're going to hear more about as we get into the season, welcoming Pro Guide Batteries to the 2024 Alabama Bass Trail 100 series. They're going to give you a bonus of $250 if you're the highest finisher inside the top 20 with one or more Pro Guide batteries on board. And if you are fully rigged out and you're in the top 10 highest finisher, that's going to go to $500. So another way for you to win on the Alabama Bass Trail, and tickled to death to have Pro Guide batteries. Pate and those guys over there, super nice to work with, and look forward to a relationship with them for a long time. One of the others that you probably seen a press release go out on is Rapala. Rapala, VMC, and Crush City, bringing all 3 brands to the Alabama Bass Trail, coming in as a premier sponsor for the 2023 season. We will be repping the VMC weigh-in bags, look a little bit different next year out on the Alabama Bass Trail, but goodness, what a great group of people. We're going to have products. We're going to have Luke and Darian doing some product reviews prior to the tournaments. We're going to have some, updates from the water from them. We're going to talk about their products. Crush City is a new product put out by Rapala this year. It's a kind of a collaboration with Jacob Wheeler, and I mean that guy catches them everywhere he goes. So that says a little bit about the lures that they've got out. So looking forward to learning more about Rapala, VMC, and Crush City as the year goes on. And they're going to be sending out different things throughout the year for you to try their product. Lots of love on that post when we posted that. Had several people say that they had just gotten their order in from various online retailers that got their Crush City in and got VMC hooks in and all of that. So looking forward to working with this company. I want to thank a good friend of mine, Gerald Swindle, for reaching out to me. They had actually contacted Gerald and said, "Hey, we would love to talk to Kay if you could get us in touch." And he did that, and I appreciate that. A lot of times that's how things like this happen. Someone knows someone, and they can get you in touch with the right person. So really thankful for friends like Gerald that are willing to go out on a limb. I mean, he's fished with us. He's been a friend of mine for, God, I hate to say it, but dang near 20 years. So, God, Gerald, you're old. If you're listening, and he probably will. So, but I am thankful not only for Gerald being willing to reach out to me, but willing to give a vote of confidence in what he knows about the Alabama Bass Trail, what he knows about me and our team, and being willing to go out on a limb with one of his partners and say, yeah, I think it would be a good investment. So, thanks to the guys over there. And again, you're going to see more and more and more from them all throughout the year here on the Alabama Bass Trail. I do before I talk about this next partner, and it's probably one of the biggest changes for 2024 for our company. But I did want to talk about, I was on the treadmill the other day at the gym and I got a phone call, and I have a hard time breathing on the treadmill to begin with. So answering a phone call is not top of my list. But I did answer the phone call. It was after 5 o'clock, but I did answer it. And the guy said, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm just on the treadmill." And he goes, "Oh, well, I hate to bother you, but I just wanted to call and tell you that I just financed my new truck at Amherst." And I said, "Really?" I said, "That's great." And he goes, "Yeah, and I'm probably going to call back and refinance my boat there." He said, "I normally do business with a local bank. I have my whole time that I've been in fishing." And he said, "But I just called them out of the blue and they beat the socks off of my local bank with their interest rate. And so I just couldn't help but go there. And I talked to him about my boat loan. And so I'm probably going to be refinancing my boat and moving it there. So if you live in an Amherst area and you work or live in those areas and you can qualify for membership, always, always, always give them a chance. If it's not a boat loan, if it's not a car loan, if it's a lake house loan, if it's a HELOC, if it's just your checking and savings account, give them an opportunity to earn your business. And that's what I've been so impressed with Phil and Jody and all the people there at Amherst. They're willing to earn your business, and they don't want you to just come in there and lay it all out on the line. They're willing to work to earn that business. And this is not the first story like this that I've heard, but I just thought with it being this time of the year and what we're thankful for and sponsors, we certainly couldn't do what we do without them. That was a testament to one of our anglers that says, normally I don't even think about calling them. I just call my local bank and get it done. It's so easy. But he found that it was very easy to do business with them and they beat the interest rate greatly. So please make sure that you reach out to Amherst. And if you can't get through to them, Mr. Craig Hip helps us a ton down there. He'll be glad to help you, put you in touch with the right person at your local branch if you can't get in touch with someone. So please make sure that you do that, and always make sure that you go to amherst.org/bass cash and get registered for their bonus program on the Alabama Bass Trail. So the next thing that you may or may not have seen if you've gone to the website or if you've been on social media, if you've seen the press release, for 2024-2025, John and I will be finding new roads in a 2024 Chevrolet Silverado 1500 Trail Boss. I am so excited about this. I do want to say we've had a tremendous relationship with Bill Penny Automotive over the last 10 years. Cannot say anything nicer about the people there, about the service that we received the entire time we were there, about the number of anglers that bought trucks and even cars for their wives and stuff while we were associated with them. Can't say enough about them. Zach Penny is a true friend, and I will continue that friendship. But I've just got to say, I mean, the guys and gals at Landers McClarty and McGraw-Webb down in Camden, they were very aggressive. They understand the fishing industry. They understand the world of outdoors. They understand fishermen. I remember talking to Mr. Edgar when I was there in June, and we sat down and he said, I really truly understand what fishing means to my community. I live in Camden, and hunting and fishing is what we have to offer to our visitors. And I understand how important you and other people like you are to our community. And if we can be of assistance, if we can somehow partner with you, then that's what we want to do. And so Mark Cook over at Landers McClarty, Mark fishes with us. I'll say this, and a lot of people don't see this stuff behind the scenes, but Mark's partner was killed in a car accident this year in May, and it forced him to miss 2 tournaments. Mark called me. He said, "Look, I'm not asking you to break a rule. I'm just asking if there is a caveat in the rules that would allow me to replace my partner or use an alternate because he was killed in a car accident." And I looked, and Mark did not assign an alternate at the beginning of the year. I expressed to him that I could not break that rule, and that he would have to fish the last 2 tournaments solo. And he said, "Kay, I appreciate that. I didn't see anything in the rules, but it never hurts to call and ask." And when we got to talking about sponsorship and all those things, that was one of the things he brought back to me. He said, "You didn't break the rule for me." And he said, "And that's why I want to do business with you." He said, you know, I simply called. I didn't see anything in the rules, but I called anyway. You were very honest with me and said that that's not something you could do. It would not be fair. And you were right. And he said, and that's why we want to do business with you. And that means a lot to me. It means a lot to me when you know, we have people that in no way did I think in May when I made that decision that I was going to have an opportunity to speak with Mark about potential sponsorship, and we did. And some, 5 months later, 6 months later, we got the deal done, and we announced it on the 28th of November. And my truck is currently being wrapped. Blair Barnes is working his magic on it. John's is ready to go. Mine is in the process. Hopefully, we'll get the video completed, and you guys are going to get to see what I think are the two baddest Trail Boss vehicles out there. So mine's got the ARE cover. It's got the bed slide. John's has got the tonneau cover. I've got cat skin leather seats in mine, blue and black leather seats. It's got a chrome finish on the wrap along with some white diamond, blue chrome. It's absolutely, to me, iced out. It looks so cold and so killer. So I'm looking forward for you guys to see that. I'm excited. It's got the big display, the backup camera. It's got the big display. You can crank it with your app and warm it up. I'm a very cold-natured person. I love that, or cool it off in the summertime. It's just got so many neat features to it, and I can't wait to talk to you more about it once I get it and get to spend some time in it. Really looking forward to that. You're going to see a ton of pictures of that thing. And I invite you to come on and take your picture with it. And ladies, you can fix your hair. You can put your lipstick on just by standing there looking at the truck. So it is fire. I'll just say that it's fire. I'm so excited about getting there, but I could not do this podcast without thanking Mr. Edgar McGraw with McGraw Webb Chevrolet down in Camden, and also Mark Cook and Brianna Tucker. Brianna's been my go-to salesperson during this process. Very, very knowledgeable of this vehicle, very knowledgeable of the inventory that they have there for you to look at. Just a super cool experience. I saw someone when I was talking about the truck say it was a better dealership experience, a better buying experience. I have got to say that it was one of the best experiences that I've been through. Very knowledgeable. I sometimes wonder how women fare in the car sales business, but you walk into Landers McClarty and there are 3 or 4 ladies there selling cars, and they are so knowledgeable about the product. And so I was very impressed with that. And so if you are looking for a vehicle and you are in the mode of needing a new tow vehicle for 2024, then check out, go to our website, click on the Chevrolet link. It'll bring you up to our 2 premier preferred dealerships, which is Landers McClarty there in Huntsville, Alabama, and then also McGraw Webb down in Camden, Alabama. So really, really cool thing. Love these 2 trucks, and I can't wait for you guys to see them. So, but that wraps it up for this segment of the Alabama Bass Trail Podcast presented by Phoenix Boats. Next up, guys, we are on Bassmaster Team Championship alert. The guys are literally getting out on the water as you're listening to this. We're recording this on Thursday evening before they take off for Leesburg, Florida. So we're going to get on the phone with Randal Hamilton, Justin Mott. We're going to talk about their season. We're going to talk about, how they got together, how they pulled off the season that they pulled off this year. I mean, dude, they came in like 9th in the points. They had 3 top 10 finishes this year. So we're going to talk about all of that, talk about how they got there, how they plan on attacking the Harris Chain of Lakes once they get down there. Right now we're looking at a cold front. We're going to talk about all that and more when we get back here on the Alabama Bass Trail Podcast presented by Phoenix Boats. We'll be right back.
Nobody wants to run out of power when they're on the water. There is a better way. Introducing the Charge Marine Power Management Station from PowerPole that does the work of 3 devices, a traditional battery charger, a charge on the run, and an emergency start system. PowerPole Charge.
Welcome back to the Alabama Bass Trail Podcast presented by Phoenix Boats. And as I promised, the team that I said had something to prove down on the Harris chain that I felt like after talking to him at the championship, after talking to him at the ABT 100, they saved their time off to go down to the Harris chain. They have something to prove. Randal Hamilton, Justin Mott, welcome to the podcast, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
I tell you, I don't know, like, I just felt like talking to y'all at the championship, talking to you at the 100. You didn't really want to spend a lot of time practicing for the 100. You really wanted to get down to the Harris chain. And we're going to talk a lot about the Harris chain, but right now I want to talk about this season you guys put together. First of all, 73rd at Martin, not your best finish, but when you consider there was like 115 bags between 7 and 9 pounds. I mean, you just go a half a pound and you could be down 60 places, literally. So that wasn't your best finish. 9th place at Lay Lake, 29th at Lake Eufaula, and we had a little Mott sighting. He came and filled in for Randal at that tournament. 6th place at Logan Martin, 5th place at the Alabama River, finished 9 points out of first place in the Angler of the Year. You had 3 top 10s for the year. I mean, dude, that's the season right there. That's a heck of a season.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and it's incredible when it starts to snowball like that, like how things just go your way when sometimes you just don't see things happening that way. Lake Eufaula was one of those kind of, we didn't know what it was going to be because the water was so low, and we just happened to get on something that was completely unexpected, and then, Logan Martin, Alabama River kind of fell into our lap.
Well, I mean, you guys are Alabama River guys. I mean, you love the Miller's Ferry ABT 100 there. You were really excited about a summertime tournament at the river to finish up there, 5th place finish there. I mean, just a really cool season. This is y'all's 2nd year fishing together, is that right? First year on the trail. Okay, y'all fished the 100s, but first year fishing the trail.
If anybody listens to this and wants to give us tips on Lake Martin, we will 100% take them. Martin has our number. We have talked about it. That's like one goal. Not saying that we can do good in every tournament, but like if we feel like if we can just get a check at 40th, I mean, just do somewhat decent, we stand a good chance of doing good the rest of the year. But we actually had a good practice this year there. We had a couple places where we could catch fish. Tournament just falls apart. I got to throw this out there. And Randall, if you want to tell this story, please do. But after our 73rd place finish, we got a text message from Alan Anthony superfan that kind of laid out our season. Randall, you want to tell Kay about that? I mean, you're the talker. I'm kind of more than just a fisher, but I can throw a little bit out there. Alan said, okay, if y'all want to make the top 9, this is what you got to do. He laid out every tournament the rest of the year, and he said, okay, Lay Lake's your next stop. You'll have to finish top 10 there. Next stop, you have to finish. And he just gave us numbers, and he's like, this is what you have to do. And we met every number and exceeded some of them. And he was dead. He was right on point. This is in February when he sent this to us. It's pretty crazy. But Alan, Justin, tell him a little bit more detail. Okay, it was right after Lake Martin. He scolded us, of course, for how bad we did at Lake Martin. And then he sent a list and he said, okay, on Lay Lake, you need 10th place. On Lake Eufaula, you need 30th place. On Logan Martin, you need a 38th place, and you need to win the Alabama River. So Lay Lake happens. We end up finishing 9th, 1 place above what he needed. And he's like, okay, guys, you're back on track. If you get Lake Eufaula, you've got a chance of making the top 9. Well, then we got 29th when he said we needed 30th. So we're starting to get pumped up at this point. We're going, okay, there's an actual chance. I think we moved up into 30th place in the AOY.
Mm-hmm.
And then everything went right, and somehow we ended up getting a 6th on Logan Martin above the 38th place finish that he thought that we needed. He was texting us, let's go, guys. Y'all making the top 9 this time. We were extremely pumped up.
I don't know how he does it. I don't know what crystal ball he has or what algorithm he has, but he is so close every time he makes a prediction. Now, Chris Colley and Adam Bain would say no, he doesn't. And Brian Stifler and Wesley Gore would say no, he doesn't know what the heck he's talking about. And I think he ruffled a few feathers with Josh and Paul when he said they were the if guys. So, but I'm looking at his numbers. 73rd on Martin, you had to have a top 10 on Lay. You pull that off. Top 28th on Eufaula, you got 29th. You had to be 37th or better on Logan Martin. Dude, you came in with a 6th place finish, had to win the Alabama River, and you had a 5th place finish. So he was right on target on all of that. And like I said, I don't know what crystal ball he looks at, but the dude is almost right. It, it's like, it's scary to me. Like I
It
almost want to call him for betting. Like, if I bet, I don't bet on anything, but if I was going to wager on anything, if I was going to pull lottery numbers, I think I would want to call the super fan and ask him what his thoughts were.
Okay, he tells us after a tournament what place we're in Angler of the Year, and like y'all may not even be completely done weighing in. The scales ain't closed. He'll have us our numbers, tell us where we're at, what we need to do, where we're going to be. It's just if you thinking in your head like if you was just the average person, you'd be like and it's like spot on every time. It's crazy. The numbers he runs and does on his computer and with all these people, you're not talking about one or two people. You're talking about a list of folks, and
Right.
it's pretty crazy.
I don't understand it. One day I'm going to have to spend some time with him and let him walk me through it because literally when we finished the Alabama River, we had two teams tied for 9th place. And I had to go back and add their weights from each tournament to decide who got the 9th place finish and who fell to 10th. And of course, Ryan Sweeney and Jacob George got the 9th place finish. Mark McKeag, Tim Hurst fell back. Then they qualify in the North. So that put Josh and Paul in the 10th place finish. And then Chris and Kobe decide not to go. So that puts them in. I don't know how he does it because it's all I can do to keep up with it. And I look at it all the time. He really studies it, but he studies it on the South. He doesn't look at the North as much. He don't know those guys as much, but it's very interesting to see how close he is on all of his predictions. That's for sure. A great friend of y'all's, both of y'all, great friends.
Yeah, the Alabama River tournament. He was telling us the numbers while we was waiting in that Steve and Rob was going to win Angler of the Year. He was doing it as people were waiting in and told us, okay, 2 more people above this weight and they were winning. I was like, good Lord. And he was right on.
I don't have those kind of people in my circle. Like I just got a text message from
Justin Allen and mine, because I'm not either.
Well, I just got a text message from my best friend, Gerald Swindle, and I can assure you it doesn't have a thing to do with an algorithm or anything else. It's probably a funny TikTok. It is not an algorithm or how numbers are going to shape up or anything like that. All right, let's go on to Randal. This is your first time to qualify for the Bass Team Championship. What's going through your mind right now? You're one day away from leaving. So what's going through your mind right now?
A whole lot. I have for a month straight trying to do research, videos. I mean, that's a lot of water, and
trying to narrow down what you want to do time wise, where you want to be, and just kind of like looking at it like I guess you say like everybody that fishes a trail is kind of like a goal to make this. This is the best of the best, and kind of like soak it in. I'm trying to explain to like my girlfriend and my family and all, like, this is a big deal. I guess it really it's set in on me, but until I actually get there, it's probably going to be a whole lot for me.
I understand. Justin, you've been there before. You got to do this event with your dad on this body of water, right?
Yes, ma'am.
That's what I thought. I thought y'all made it the last time we were at the Harris Chain. Talk a little bit about, is that going to help you going into this event since you've been there before?
It is. So the first side, I think, is that it's now the second time I'm going to see this lake, and I got to spend 4 days on it the first time. So I understand how the lake lays out, how the grass lays out, where the ledges are, kind of a breakdown of exactly how I can run them. But also, with it being the second time going there, I'm not going to have the same nerves or the same thoughts or concept about how to fish it, because admittedly the first time it was just, man, I'm just happy to be here kind of
Right.
situation. So, it was like a vacation.
Yeah.
Well, this
Yeah.
time I coming into it because of knowing the lake and all the research that we put into it, I feel like we have a legitimate shot to, I'm not going to say this because Jordan and Jesse are amazing, but maybe
Yep.
give them a little bit of fun for their money.
Yeah. Well, I don't know really what it was, but after talking to y'all at the championship and knowing how excited you were, I knew you'd been there before. I kind of went out on a limb and just said it on a podcast. I said, I really feel like that Randal Hamilton and Justin Mott had the opportunity to go down there and shock the world. Because you look at some of the other names that are going down there, your Mark McKeggs, Tim Hurst, names that you're going to see more often that have qualified numerous times. I think probably 8 out of 10 times they've qualified on our trail. I know they didn't qualify at all last year, but if they haven't qualified with us, they've qualified through the airport or Sylacauga or something. So you see those guys go all the time. But I just felt like that this was y'all's time. Just I don't know if it was the year you had and the comeback that you had after Martin and not letting that get between your ears, because so much of fishing, and like my son with baseball, is between your ears. Do you get spun out? Can you handle it? Can you manage it? And then can you go out and apply it once you get on the boat? So it's about a 9 to 12 hour ride. I know here it's about 12 hours. How long will it take y'all to get there?
It'll probably take me. I know I'm going to go extremely slow getting down there.
Okay. Yeah.
Map shows like 8 hours, I think.
Yeah. I was looking today. I'm 500 miles from Venetian Garden sitting in my house. It's exactly 500 miles. So I'm actually going to fly. I'm not going to drive, even though now that I have seen my truck, I was like, God, I wish I'd have took my truck, but I'm going to fly. I come in late Monday. I've got a meeting in Orlando, and then I'm going to drive on over. But you guys, long time to get down there. You'll get down there on Friday. I think practice starts Saturday. Is that right?
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
it does.
Okay. So you have 3.5 days. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, half a day Tuesday. I think I come off the water at 1 o'clock on Tuesday.
That's right.
All
1
right.
o'clock.
Looking at the Harris Chain, it's 76,000 acres. I know there's a lot of canals and stuff that are idle only down there. Justin, you've been there. Tell us how you break down. What are the X's and O's of practice?
So I think the first thing that you need to do is you need to decide on a home territory that you're going to work. Kind of like Jordan and Wesley said, that they're going to look at a lake or two, and they're going to kind of live in that area to try to figure out what the fish are doing that. Now, within the local vicinity to the ramp, you've got Harris, Little Harris, Eustis are the 2-3 local lakes. And then you have Dora and Beauclair a little bit farther east, but they have easy canal access.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then you also have Griffin and Opaka, who you're going to have to go through a lock to get there. And because of the size of the field, we're expecting there's going to be about 250 boats. That could be a bit of a gamble. Now, according to their studies, Griffin and Opaka have the bigger size fish. Opaka has more 10-pound fish, while Griffin has more 3 to 4-pound fish in it.
Right.
So it's a between, do you want to gamble on catching a big bag and taking a chance with a lock, or do you want to stay more local and take a chance with possibly a smaller but more consistent chance of catching a better limit?
Right. Right. We don't allow people to lock in our tournaments, but I've seen it in other tournaments where the lockmaster, because barges have, and I don't know what kind of traffic they have down there, but on the Tennessee River, barges go first. And so they have to let all the barge traffic through before they let any recreational boats through. And we've seen guys that are 15 minutes late and don't get to weigh their fish because they elected to lock and either go to Wheeler from Gunnersville or go to Gunnersville from Wheeler. And you really do run a chance. Plus, you've got an opportunity for equipment failure, and you don't have anybody else in the tournament up there where you are, and you don't have anybody to ride back with. So all of that kind of has to play in your mind when you're practicing, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Evan,
it's
The
really
time traveling and idling, all that is that's a big, I guess you can say that's a big factor in it, just as much as making it and trying to get through is your sitting time, really.
Mhm.
You got a couple hours out of your wasted there.
Right.
And I'll kind of add that whenever we went down there for the team championship, the day one leaders fished out of Griffin. Well,
Yeah.
day two, that lock and they didn't get back up there. So they still had a good. I think they caught 14 pounds, but they had 20 pounds back on the other side, and they didn't make the top 3 because of that.
Right. Right. I think Wesley and him talked about that a little bit too. And more time that you're idling, that's less time you've got a hook in the water too. So I tend to think about that. This is a little bit different. I mean, 76,000 acres. We don't go to a lake in the South. We go to Gunnersville and Wheeler and all of that up here in North Alabama, but we don't go to a lake that's 76,000 acres in the South Division. I mean, that's you're going to need all 3.5 days to do your research down there.
Absolutely. Justin's gave me some notes and stuff that he's got and what he's known from there, but I mean, you're not even. I mean, it's just scratching the surface. I think you would need weeks down there, but
Yeah.
we do good. We know what we like to do and how we like to fish, and we've kind of, I guess you can say maybe midway through the year this year, we kind of like said, hey, our worst finish is trying to fish the way we're not used to, is at Martin. And halfway through the year, we started fishing the way we like to fish. So, I mean, a 6th, a 5th, and a championship, a 4th, fishing, ways we do. So we're going to go down there. We've got some areas we like, and we're going to fish the way we like and try to find out how to catch them in the areas that we're targeting, the way we like to fish.
Justin, you've made this event with your dad, and I've oftentimes am going through the Alabama Bass Trail photo galleries, and I send you a photo of you and your dad. What was it like to fish with him down there for the first time?
It was a lot of fun, and I don't know, he means so much to me. So you were talking about the photos, and I don't know if you get a chance, but if you go and look at the Lake Jordan Championship, day 2, there's a photo of me, and when I saw it, I went, ooh, I can see the hurt on that guy, because you could see on my face, I knew it was the last tournament on the ABT with my dad. Fortunately, we had you follow this year to kind of make up for it, but I was brokenhearted.
Yeah.
That's how much he means to me to be able to fish. And when we made that trip, like, it was a vacation, but it was so much fun. We had such a good time catching fish. We were catching them up shallow, throwing spinner baits, just having a good time. It's a memory that's going to sit well with me for the rest of my life.
It was really cool to see you guys make that. I know I only came down for the last 2 days. That was the year COVID, I think, and I wasn't coming down until Alabama Bass Trail had 2 teams in the top 3, and then we came down for that, flew down for that. It is really cool. There's a picture of your dad and I you followed this year, and just catching up with him and talking to him and understanding what this sport means and to you and to Randal is just super, super cool to watch that. But I can't have this conversation without talking about Mama Mott. I mean, let's just talk about her. She is a fiery young lady. I
She's a
love her
firecracker.
response. Hey, I love when she gets back in somebody's business on Facebook. Now that just cranks me up. I loved it when I sent you and Superfan the comment that she made on Facebook the other day. She is passionate about the fishing industry and what her guys like to do, isn't she?
I will tell you this. Nobody needs to mess with Mama Mott's kids. That woman will light a fire under their butt if she has to. I've only seen my mama mad 2 times in my entire life. And each time had to do with somebody doing something towards her kids that she disagreed with. That's nothing else phases her. She will put on a smile for everything else. That will get her riled up. But I will say this. I know my mama's going to hear this, and I do just want to get a chance to say, Mom, I love you. I appreciate everything that you do for me. I couldn't fish the ABT without her. I've got a great wife who does everything in the world for me, and I'm very, very blessed. But we both have full-time jobs, and I only get to fish when it's either official practice or an ABT tournament.
Yeah.
So there's no pre-practicing on weekends or like that. And, official practice is Thursday and Friday during the work hours.
Mm-hmm.
If it wasn't for my mama being able to watch my son, I wouldn't be able to do this at the level that we're fortunate enough to do it. And, Mom, if you're listening, I love you. I greatly appreciate that. You mean the world to me.
We said this when I talked to Wesley and Jordan. We talked about their tribe and their group and how, it does take a village. I've been told this my whole life. It takes a village to raise a child, and it really does. But when you look at, the stuff that Jordan and Jesse went through to get back to the ABT 100, and their wives flying out there and helping them drive back, and grandparents keeping kids so they could do that. I mean, on a smaller level, I get what you're saying. And when I look at and I start thinking about the Alabama Bass Trail, some of the coolest stories come from the mamas and the grandmamas and how they help facilitate this. So they're the ones who's watching on live. I mean, they're watching on live in the mornings when y'all are blasting off, and they're saying good luck to their sons and their grandsons. And I see CJ Knight's grandparents come up to the weigh-ins, and I think about that's what I wanted for the Alabama Bass Trail the entire time. Yes, competitive, good payout, that's great. But I really wanted it to be like a big family. And when I see Mama Mott come to our defense, when someone wants to pop off something that, they obviously don't have a clue about what we do or what our mission and passion is, she's willing to take those by the horn, and I really appreciate that. And that's why I had to send that to you and the super fan. I said, this has got to be Mama Mott right here. Got to be Mama
Yeah,
Mott.
that
So,
was her. Love ABT.
Randall, you mentioned your girlfriend. You've got two small children as well. I've seen her at the weigh-ins. It does take a family. It does take a village to make this thing go, doesn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. My girlfriend, we was talking about last night. She's watched my kids. I get my kids 50-50, so every other weekend and then half the week. But like two of the tournaments is the weekend I've had my kids, and she's watched them. And like tomorrow, I've got to work tomorrow. I use all my vacation for next week, but I got to work tomorrow. When I get off, I have my kids this weekend, so I'm gonna go 45 minutes, get my kids, then we're gonna go to her son's basketball game, and then we get back. I'm gonna get my kids, play with them a little bit, let them go to sleep, and when they fall asleep, I'm gonna get on the road. So I'm planning on getting on the road tomorrow night, like 10ish, and I should make it down there by daylight to start fishing. But she's able to watch the kids. I mean, then my mom's gonna step in during the week next week to help getting back and forth. It's I couldn't do it without her. She's both of them, my mom, Savannah, they're wonderful, great people, and I really do appreciate them, love them to death.
Well, we hear that story time and time again, and I think it's good that you're willing to recognize that. We talk about, the first 2 days on the Bass Team Championship. First of all, I want to talk about, let's say there is 250 boats. I have not heard a number. Normally, Bass will kind of let us tournament directors know a few days in advance what the number is. We've seen it all the way to 255 last year. We had 179 at Eufaula. We've had 199 at Lake Gunnersville. We've had 154. So I think we're probably going to be around that 200, 215 mark. Is boat number going to matter to you day one, Justin?
No, I don't think that it is. On that lake, I think that we're going to be able to catch them pretty freely. If we get a warming condition, it could be an absolute slugfest. But even if it gets cold, fish bite on that lake. I know they talk about Florida where things can get tough. Fish bite on that lake pretty well. So whatever number they give us, they're going to flip anyway. So
Right.
And we're very comfortable with the, if it's 250, that's okay because we fish the ABT. We're used to the big boat numbers.
Right. Randall, we've seen Alabama Bass Trail Team, Wesley Sams, Jordan Wiggins make it to day 3 and 4. They decided who got the juice by rock, paper, scissors. Have y'all talked about how you'll decide who gets the juice and who has to go look for something else? Have y'all talked about that? Will it be rock, paper, scissors? Will it be heads or tails? What will it be?
No, ma'am. We have not talked about it. I really don't know. I guess that's something we need to talk about, Mott. How you want to work that out? I mean, Mott's more prepared and has all the details and notes and all. I really don't know. How do you want to talk about that later on, Mott, or what?
No, I mean, what I'm going to do is I'm going to call Josh Butts and see what other kind of crazy ideas he's got for us.
Well, I'm going to give you just a pre-warning there. You may not want to call Josh Butts, especially if it's after 5 o'clock. You may not want to hear what that guy's got to say. He comes up with some of the most harebrained things, but I tell you what, he absolutely loves Alabama Bass Trail. He loves bass fishing, hunting, and some bush light. I will say that.
And
Whether it's rock, paper, scissors, do what?
he is such a cool guy too.
What a cool guy, has the best heart. Not trying to hurt y'all's feelings, but for some reason, my mother has gravitated to Josh. Like every time we go, she wants to know, is Josh fishing? Is Josh fishing? Is Josh fishing? So she has to know every time. And she just couldn't wait to hug his neck when he won at Gunnersville this year. She just has a special place in her heart for Josh. I don't know what it is, but honey, she is a Josh Butts fan. But we'll come up with y'all a way to decide who gets the juice and all that. Maybe you find several places that have the juice on it. So I'm looking forward to being there to watch you guys. Any ideas, Justin, what you think it's going to take to make it to day 3 per day?
I think to be safe, you're going to need to be about 19 and a half to 20 pounds. I know when Jordan and Wesley made it, it took 38, a little bit more than 38 pounds for 2 days to get there. So it was a little bit over 19 pounds. But the first time through, I'm struggling with the guy's name right now. I had it on the tip of my tongue. But the On It guy, whenever he won, which would have been
Matt
years
Robertson.
ago, yeah, Matt Robertson, it averaged 20 pounds per day to make it into the top 3.
Right.
So it kind of just depends on, I think if you get 20 pounds per day, you're going to be there.
I like that number. I'd like to see the tournament. A lot of people like tough tournaments. For this event, I particularly would like to see people catch them just because guys are coming from so far away. We'll see guys that'll travel for 24 hours to get there, from Phoenix, from Canada. You're going to see guys travel for multiple days to get there. I hope that we see a catch fest. I really do. I hope we see a bunch of bags come in and guys have a good time, just because from a tourism perspective, for me, you worked so hard to get there, and I want you to be able to go out there and enjoy the time. Because I can think of a time when we were at Neely Henry and we saw one fish catch on camera and how boring that was and how terrible I felt that I'd scheduled a tournament on Neely Henry in February because nobody caught fish. This is supposed to be fun, and this is the first tournament of the year, and you've waited since August and nobody catches fish. So I hope that we do see a lot of bass brought in. I hope that we get to see that. I'd like to see our teams. Of course, I'd love to see 3 Alabama Bass Trail teams in the mix. I want to ask you a couple more questions, and these are not very serious questions, but we're coming off of the Thanksgiving season. Y'all talked a little bit about being thankful for your family. I got to ask you, what was your favorite item on the table at Thanksgiving?
Mine definitely. We got an oilless fryer this year. It was awesome.
Wow.
Love the turkey.
Wow. Oilless fryer, and you fried your turkey.
That's it.
So how long does that take?
It took, I think, like an hour and 45 minutes.
Ah.
Somewhere around there. Yeah.
Ah.
My sister got it for us this year, and man, it was awesome.
Wow. Okay. What about you, Justin? What's your favorite thing on the Thanksgiving table?
I had to think about that for a second because so I got to Thanksgiving a little bit late this year. My son had a little bit of a boo-boo, so we had to handle that. And when I got there, the Mott clan had done eaten everything.
Oh.
So I was going over my mind going, man, what did I eat? Because I was catching scraps. Now, normally it's I love ham.
Ham.
But
Okay.
this year, I guess it was a turkey. That was about all that was left.
Well, I will say I try to stay pretty disciplined with my diet, but Thanksgiving, all things go out the door for Thanksgiving for me. That's the day of the year that I cheat. I don't even think about it. It doesn't cross my mind that it's not good for me. It is my day. Christmas, I don't care one thing about food at Christmas. I don't have to even have food at Christmas. But Thanksgiving, I want it all. And the dressing is my favorite. It's my appetizer, it's my meal, it's my dessert. I'm a dressing person. I want stuffing, I want dressing. So that was my favorite. I don't even like pies. I don't need sweets. I just need dressing. That's all I need. So Justin, when are you leaving to go down to Florida?
I'm going to be leaving tomorrow. I'm going to put in about 2 hours worth of work and then pack up and hit the road.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, it looks like you're going to have a little bit of a cold snap. I think going to come in about the first day of the tournament is going to go down from the high 70s maybe to the high 60s. You think that's going to bother things at all?
From everything I've seen, any kind of cold drop is not good for Florida. As everything I've read now. Justin may know, but I hadn't seen anything good from it.
I can tell you this: if it was to stay warm, Brian Adamson and Ryan Lloyd, they're going to have an incredible down there because they caught them when it was warm last time we were down there.
Right.
Now, if it gets cold, it's going to move them a little bit, and I think that's when they're going to slide just a little bit off the banks, and that's when Jordan and Wesley's going to have a good time. But they're still going to bite. You'll still be able to catch them and have a good time down there.
Well, you mentioned a little bit about Brian Adamson, Ryan Lloyd. They are a solid team. They did really well on the ABT 100 this year. They've done well on the ABT for several years. Got their first win this year. Is there another team that you're looking at that you would say you think has a really good chance down there?
Other than your usual suspects like Mark McKeag and Tim Hurst, Brian and Jordan, there's make sure I have this right. Josh Chappell and Paul Davis.
Mm-hmm.
They're going, right?
Yes.
So I was thinking those are some guys. I don't know how many times they cash a check. I do know every time I look at the leaderboard, their name's on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those guys. Those guys catch them. They've been a few times with us. They've been a few times with the Airport Marine Trail. And the new guys from the South that I don't know really well, Shane Adams and Raymond Adams, I don't know them real well. Got to talk to them a little bit at the championship. I don't know them. This first year they fished with us, so I don't quite know them enough to say whether or not I think they can go down there and be competitive. But I do think if you can come through the Alabama Bass Trail and you can get in ninth place, fishing against all the people y'all fish with and all the different lakes and ecosystems and all the conditions that we deal with, if you can finish in the top 9 there, I think you got a heck of a chance to go down there and be successful.
Yeah, absolutely. And you take, like Rob Lee and Steve, to me, they've been the best team on tour for the past 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
They're another team that's going to come in very, very prepared for this. And I don't know all the North teams, but I know they've got some sticks, and they have hydrilla lakes up that way.
Right.
So if those teams come down to Harris Chain and they go looking for hydrilla and they find anything, they're just going to be able to duplicate that across the lakes.
Right. I agree. I like Damian Willis, Tyler Kiker a little bit in the north too. Those guys give me a lot of trouble. They're part of the peanut gallery that I refer to quite often. They're 2 of the 8 or so of the peanut gallery. So I don't know if I'm excited about them going down there or not, because somehow it's going to be my fault if it turns off cold. It's going to be my fault if they don't catch them. I can assure you it's going to be something I did that's going to make them not catch them, because it's always my fault when it comes to those guys. So,
well, you plan them on cold rainy days a year in advance.
every time, they won Smith Lake when it snowed. And I bet you I had 5,000 text messages that morning from those 8 people as to why I should call that tournament off. You got to cancel this tournament. You got to cancel it. You're putting our lives at risk and all this. And then they come in and win it. Yeah, that was some fun banter as I'm handing them that $10,000 check and that $7,000 Phoenix check. I can tell you there were some words exchanged after that little deal. So they keep me on my toes, no doubt. But guys, I wish you all the best. Safe travels on your way to Florida. Looking forward to seeing you guys down there. I'll be at the check-in at some point on Tuesday. I'll see y'all on Tuesday. But, if you need anything, you've got my number. Wish you all the best, and give your mamas and wives, girlfriends, and kids hugs before you head down. And if you need anything after Monday, let me know.
Thank you, Kay. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Justin.
Thank you, Kay.
All right. Guys, there it is.
Bye.
Justin, Mott, Randal, Hamilton. They've qualified in the South Division. Justin's been there before. Randal is going to be down there. And I got to say, it's going to be a thing. But I think fishing the Alabama Bass Trail, 225 boats, it's not going to be as big of a shock as he thinks it's going to be. They're going to come down there focused and ready. So congratulations to those guys, not only for qualifying, through the Alabama Bass Trail South Division, but I just have a feeling. I don't know what it is. I just have a feeling. So, but we'll be back in just a moment here on the Alabama Bass Trail podcast presented by Phoenix Boats, and we'll wrap this show up and get you back out on the water in Sweet Home, Alabama. Y'all stay tuned.
If you're looking for a little extra this year, you'll need to show some extra Southern hospitality. And doing it with bacon never hurt. Well, merry crispiness, because Jack's is bringing a sleigh load of bacon for its Southern favorites. There's the big BLT, chicken BLT, and our bacon double cheeseburger, all piled high with crispy, delicious bacon. Looks like someone knows what the big man wanted. Keep it crispy, y'all. It's a bacon wonderland out there.
Welcome back to the Alabama Bass Trail podcast presented by Phoenix Boats. There you have it. Randal Hamilton and Justin Mott headed down to Leesburg, Florida, hopefully to bring back the Bassmaster Team Championship trophy, but also sending one of those guys on to the Bassmaster Classic. That would be so, so cool. Just a really solid team there. That's the team that I said that I felt would somehow find a way. And they've just had such a magical year this year, barring the Lake Martin tournament. I really think that's I'm excited to get down there, and I'm excited to see those guys compete. And I'll be down there. But by the time you're listening to this, I will be on a plane. I think my flight is at 6:35 Monday morning. So, but anyway, as you're listening to this, there are 0 days left for the Alabama Bass Trail 100 teams to pay their payments. Those are due on Friday, December the 1st. We will have all of those teams ready and a new roster posted, a full roster posted the first of the week around the 11th once I get back and can do some deep diving into that and get that published for you. I do want to talk 2024 Alabama Bass Trail teams. They have January the 2nd, 2024 to pay their balance. Make any changes, add alternates, email addresses, phone numbers, all the things. You have until January the 2nd, 2024 to do that. And then, I didn't do this, but I did want to say the things to do, eat, see in Alabama. I'm blown away by the number of people that are actually going out and visiting some of the places that I'm sending you to. So I'm actually, as we're recording this on Thursday, I'm leaving after we record this and heading up to the old Black Bear again up in Athens. Enjoyed it so much. I'm going to go back for a second time, but, I do hope you'll get out and enjoy some of these things. I'm going to highlight a little place that we went to when we filmed over on Pickwick a few weeks ago. It's called the Boiler Room. It is downstairs by the Big Bad Breakfast. It's between Big Bad Breakfast and the Flobama in Florence, down on, I believe that's Court Street. I could be wrong, but I believe that's Court Street, but it's called the Boiler Room. There's a 2-lane bowling alley there, but it is a bar and grill type of place. They usually have live music there. It's in the basement. It's just a super cool place, a good place to go and have a cocktail or to have a nightcap before you go, to your room. But we usually go and eat at Rosie's, and then we'll go over there and have a couple cocktails, bowl if one of the lanes are open. But just a super cool place, and it's a kind of a place you don't see in every little town. It's a very neat setup. So please make sure that you check it out. Over in Florence, it's called the Boiler Room. So, all right, guys, that does it for this episode of the Alabama Bass Trail podcast presented by Phoenix Boats. On behalf of our guests, Randal Hamilton and Justin Mott, that are down in Florida fishing for the Bassmaster Team Championship down on the Harris Chain of Lakes. I'm excited for them, as well as the other 17 Alabama Bass Trail teams that will be competing down there. I do hope you will subscribe, rate, and review this show on your favorite podcasting app. If you have topics you would like for us to cover, please submit those to k@alabamabasstrail.org. I'll be happy to do that. Or if you have a special guest you would like for us to interview, please send us that as well. You can do that at k@alabamabasstrail.org. You can also inbox us on Facebook and Instagram. We'll be happy to get back with you there. So thank you for tuning in. This will be your podcast for the week of December the 4th, as I am in Florida with our guys at the Bass Team Championship. Thank you for tuning in. And I forgot to mention the days that it is for UAB Blazer baseball. I can't believe I forgot to mention that. So We are 31, so that's 62. We are right at 77 days from UAB Blazer baseball, kicking off against Kennesaw State down in Birmingham at the UAB baseball complex. So stop by. I won't be there on Saturday. Jake will be playing ball. I'll be at Pickwick. So looking forward to that. Excited to get kicked off on UAB Blazer baseball as well. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on the Alabama Bass Trail Podcast presented by Phoenix Boats. Have a good evening.
Thanks for listening to the Alabama Bass Trail Podcast. To learn more about the Alabama Bass Trail, make sure and visit alabamabasstrail.org.